Hey friends, welcome back to Fantasy Wash. Today we are going to be doing something a little bit different in that we are going to be doing the Wheel of Time Season 1 recap, and we're just going to jump in. Let's talk about episode 1. Episode 1 starts with our red Aja chasing a dude, and then we see back in the Two Rivers we've got our three friends, and these are our Taviran that we're going to focus on. Everything seems happy and okay, but wait. Is everything happy and okay? No, there's a strange man here, and then Ninev's on guard. But no, wait, there's an Aes Sedai. And we don't like her, but we're going to jump ahead to having Rand and Egwene in a romantic relationship. Meanwhile, an Eyeless is approaching town, as well as someone else, and that someone else is Mr. Paddon Fane, and he's going to become important later for reasons. We then jump back to having Nynaeve and Moiraine have a conversation where Nynaeve tells her that she basically just doesn't like her, and Moiraine accepts this and moves right on. We then see that it is Beltane, and all of a sudden people are dancing, but then nope, they're not just dancing, they're stabbed, and that's because the Trollocs are here. Trollocs are everywhere, so we should probably run. While the Trollocs are there, Moiraine summons all the power, she destroys a bunch of buildings, and then tells everyone at the end that there's a prophecy that one of them is the Dragon Reborn. Let's talk about episode 2. Episode 2 starts with this man who seems to like to eat birds and other animals, and then we jump back to an Eyeless that is chasing our group that has left the Two Rivers with a bunch of Trollocs. Egwene now all of a sudden can channel too, and channels all of her energy into pretty jewelry, so this is a fun thing. Moiraine on their travels likes to tell them about the history of Manetheren, aka the Two Rivers, so we learn a little bit about that, so that's really fun for everybody watching that we know it's a really old place. Perrin also is there, and he likes wolves, and wolves like Perrin. Wolves also apparently like to lick Perrin's blood because they're vampiric now. They're not just wolves. Somebody informed Twilight. This would be a big deal in that universe. We then approach Shadar Logoth. Shadar Logoth is a dangerous place, a former city, but Moiraine is so tired because she's been carrying the whole show on her shoulders at this point that Lan's going to have to carry her from now on, and he's going to be the central plot. Mat, meanwhile, goes off, finds something that he shouldn't touch because this is like the Cave of Wonders in Aladdin where no one is supposed to touch anything, but alas, Mat keeps touching everything, and by doing so, he has released Mordeth, who is a shadow in the city that really wants to touch them, so he's gonna keep touching them, and everybody gets separated, and that is episode 2. Let's talk about episode 3. Episode 3 starts with the return of Nynaeve, everyone, no one's favorite character, because that's why. Lan has the right idea. He ties her up so she can't speak because all she really does is complain and tell Moiraine how much she doesn't like her, but alas, he's a nice person, so he decides to give her some water so that she can live. Meanwhile, we have Perrin and Egwene that are running through the waste because they've been separated. If we remember at the end of Shadar Logoth, everyone went their separate ways. Meanwhile, Mat and Rand come across Tom Maryland, who is nothing like Book Tom Maryland, and they start talking to bartenders, and the bartender is important because she's a dark friend. Meanwhile, they meet Tinkers, and we see that the dark friend, lo and behold, called her friends, and we now have Moiraine and Lan being shown Logain, and that's the end of episode 3. It starts with Logain, aka the man who thinks that he is the dragon even though he's not the dragon. They are trying to control his magic by having Aes Sedai on him at all times, but with the Tinkers we still have Perrin and Egwene. With Rand and Mat we have Tom Maryland. Tom Maryland is insisting that Mat all of a sudden can channel. Back to Nynaeve, they're trying to make her a more likable character by having her hang out with the warders. I don't think it works all that well. Meanwhile, Egwene's having a really good time and she's dancing, but Perrin is learning all about the Way of the Leaf and becoming a very serious individual. At the end of our episode, we have an unnecessary battle sequence to show how powerful the Aes Sedai are. Meanwhile, a warder loses his Aes Sedai, and we get to see the arrival of Hulk Nynaeve because she can now channel when she gets really angry because she's really angry that Lan was apparently dead. That's the end of episode 4. Let's talk about episode 5. We see a funeral at the beginning because the Aes Sedai died at the end of the last episode. We then see Tarvalin. Moiraine tells Nynaeve to stay in the tower. Does she know? We then see the White Cloaks again and the Tinkers. We also meet an Ogier. We see that Logain is going mad and is having a good time. We see that this guy once again is eating small animals and torturing people. Nynaeve leaves the tower like she's not supposed to, tells a story. Perrin's eyes turn yellow. Egwene thinks that she kills someone. She doesn't. And then the wolves help them escape because the wolves are everywhere now. This is a big thing. There's a funeral at the end of this episode, and we get to see an overly dramatic Lan, and then we get to see Lan's chest. Let's talk about episode 6. Episode 6 starts with the introduction of a new character, the Amerlin Seat, who is punishing the Aes Sedai. Moraine is trying to help Mat cure him from the madness and the darkness of the dagger. She does this successfully. Egwene is now in Tarvalin along with Perrin. Moraine then becomes angelic and walks through a portal. She sees her lover, Suwan, and we realize that they've been working together this whole time to find the dragon. Liandrin's making things really complicated for them, and they decide that they want Egwene and Nynaeve to become novices. Suwan has to banish and exile Moraine from the White Tower. She takes them to the Ways, and she begins to open the Ways, which looks like a really friendly portal that everyone can walk through except Mat, because Barney Harris decided to leave the show. And we see inside the Ways, and the episode ends. And that brings us on to episode 7. Episode 7 starts with a justifiably angry woman that is killing some men. We see Loyal trying to tell an angry Nynaeve about the Ways. The Ways are getting dangerous because someone cast the One Power. Nynaeve then gets a bad headache and once again is really angry, so she uses the One Power to cast a massive spell because once again, Nynaeve is the Hulk. They then arrive in the middle of the desert, but don't worry, they know people here despite them not being all that excited that they're there. Min is someone that can see people and see things. She can't really explain it, but we learn that each of them is really important. More drama ensues because everyone likes each other, but Nynaeve is a stalker and decides to stalk Lan while he's having dinner with his friends. Lan decides that he is not too perturbed about this and rewards this behavior with an interlude. And then we see Rand and Egwene having a conversation about becoming a warder. Rand realizes he'd be a great warder because look at him making that shot. But no, wait, it was Rand to cast all that magic because Rand is the dragon reborn. He was the baby born on the mountain, and it's me. I'm the problem. It's me, Rand. Let's talk about episode 8 starts 3,000 years ago, so no time has passed whatsoever. We have the old dragon, Luce Theron Talamon, and we have the Tamerlane Seat. Rand, the current dragon, is walking through the Blight where he's not supposed to touch anything and touches everything, who he then meets Ishmael. Rand then has all these deja vu moments, realizes he's been there before, and we see that the women get together to fight off all these Trollocs because they can, and that's the show. Pat and Payne is now important again for some strange reason that they didn't convey very well. Moraine has been stilled and doesn't have magic, and Nynaeve dies because the power was too much, but don't worry, Egwene cries and all of a sudden can resurrect her because that's how magic works in this show now. Rand also thinks that he's defeated the Dark One, but don't worry because there's a bigger enemy on the shores, and they are sending tidal waves to kill one person at a time because that's how this show works. Stick around for season 2.